2026.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh man, it feels good to be back.
It does feel good to be
Feels
back.
good to be back in a basement, no fog.
Yeah.
Yet, anyway.
No chlorine fog.
Yeah, no chlorine, no burning of the
Burning,
eyes. You know.
bloodshot eyes for 3 days.
We'll give people a couple minutes to get going in here. A couple things with the basement is we're moving away from the fancy setup. There's nothing wrong with it. It makes us look better. We are still using our fancy light system, but there's something a little bit more personal about this. A little bit more intimate. Yeah. Kind of that whitewater kayak experience, you know. Very intimate, dirt baggy feel. We got our first viewer. Let's go. It's probably Olivia. No, it's not.
Sweet.
We made it.
We got one.
We made it. Okay, so like I said, we're back. Happy 2026, everybody. I'm Ed with Ohio Kayak Construction.
I'm Jeremy, also with Ohio Kayak Construction.
Thanks for joining us tonight. It's our first Wednesday night podcast in a bit, after the nice holiday break, which was refreshing, but I've definitely missed it. Definitely been wanting to come back to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So our first couple announcements is that we have a pool class coming up this Friday. That is... it's at Mount Auburn Pool. It's an Ohio Kayak Construction pool class. That is going to be from 6 to 8 o'clock. So if you
And was it full? I'm pretty
I
sure
believe
it was
is full.
completely full.
So that's just a reminder for anyone who's signed up for it. But if you are signed up for it, we're looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be a great session. It's going to be a great time.
It is.
Our next exciting piece of news is that the Xavier pool session is coming up this Sunday.
Ed's own Xavier
pool session. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been each year that we've done it, I feel like I've gotten a little bit more smooth and easy going with it. It just gets better with time, so I'm really...
And it's a huge pool for those of you that have been on other ones. Xavier's pool is nice.
Yes, especially for our
shaped as well.
Our pool session people. If you've only been to the Mount Auburn pool,
yeah,
Xavier
you're
pool
gonna be
is
like, oh, this is awesome.
At least triple volume, if I had to guess. But
and Xavier pool is just open pool.
Yep.
It's not specific instructions, so
Just
there's no
for fun.
organization, no weird questions at the beginning.
Yeah. Let us know if you can hear us, by the way. I'm figuring it's fine, but without the fancy mics.
Yeah, we couldn't
sure.
adapt my new fancy mic to the phone.
Okay.
We needed an adapter.
It's all good. It's all good. So like I said, the Xavier pool sessions this Sunday. A reminder of how to sign up for those. You got to be a part of the keel haulers. The keel haulers are basically giving us their insurance for free. And all they ask for is that we just pay their once yearly $20 fee. Benefits that you get for being part of the club is obviously going to the Xavier pool sessions. They do a bunch of trips, bunch of fun stuff like that. They're a great organization, great place.
Been around a long time.
Yeah. They've got a great thing on river progression too that is a little dated, but
yeah, their scale.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a read. And then each session is $15 a person, and there is also a bulk price of $55 per person. There's a Google form on my Facebook, so most of you, I'm assuming, found this video from Facebook, so you should go ahead and scroll back a little bit, and it's down in there. But we'll be able to help you get set up with that, and just lets me know you're coming. And then there's going to be a waiver for everyone to sign at the first session. I know a couple people have been asking me about how the bulk pricing is going to work. So I'm just waiting until the first session starts before I take any payments. It's just going to make it easier for me to kind of keep track of all the money.
You have any preferred payment method?
I don't care. Cash or Venmo is preferred to me. I can also do check, but cash or Venmo is definitely preferred. Like I said, $15 a person, and then that's pretty much it. You just come, make sure your boat's cleaned out.
Gear's clean.
Gear's clean. There's also no airbags in boats, which is, they carry dirt, they trap dirt. So just make sure your boat's nice and clean and cleaned out.
And the chlorine will end up tearing your airbags up anyway. It's best not to do that.
But yeah, that's the Xavier pool sessions. We also have Lebanon pool sessions run by George Davis. All the information on that is on the Ohio Kayak Construction website. Some events that are coming up. We have a paddler happy hour. That's going to be at DVD Brewery, I think, in February. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I've got Jeremy looking it up for me.
I can't remember. I think it's like 14, maybe. Unless it's not on here.
Might be on the free events. Those are like the paid events.
There we go. So there's a gear swap.
February 18th
Yeah.
is the Paddler Happy Hour. That's a DVD brewery. Great place, great beer. It's really a lot of fun. Good to meet people with the community. Fortunately, I've got class on Wednesday nights, so I will not be there, which is a bummer, but it is what it is.
How more likely be there?
Jeremy's going to commit himself right now. He'll be there.
Yeah.
We also have Gear Swap coming up. That is January 24th, so that's coming up within the month here in 21 days. The January 24th at Mad Tree Brewery. That's more than just a kayaking gear swap. It's an all-outdoor sports gear swap.
It's the 7th, buddy.
21 days. Oh man, 23 days. Whew. It's been a long day.
Yeah. It's a 17, but
17 days. I don't know. I can't do math.
He's
All right.
college boy here.
Yeah.
He's
Just, I've
graduating.
been teaching all day. It's gone. It's gone. All my knowledge is gone forever. So like I said, that's in 17 days away. It's coming up.
Super good stuff at that.
Yeah.
Like we've mentioned every time we've talked about it, there's seriously cheapest deals you're going to
Yeah.
get on anything.
Great prices for sure. We've also got an ACA class, so if you're interested in becoming a whitewater instructor and joining Eric and Jeremy and I on the team, there's an ACA class. The third weekend of March is when it starts, so that is the 27th through 29th, and then again in April after the Swiftwater class. I don't know if he has that listed on there.
It's April 18th and 19th.
No, that's the Swiftwater.
Oh, that's after.
The
Yeah, so
second
it's
part of the ACA.
Cuyahoga Falls Fest
is-
because we have to miss it for
Yeah.
it. So it's the 25th.
And then the Swiftwater class that we were referencing is on April 18th and April 19th, which is going to be a great class. You definitely want Swiftwater skills if you're going to be on the river at any time. So I highly recommend taking that class. There's been lots of situations where I have wished that I was Swiftwater certified in the past year alone. Well, last year. But
And if you can get other paddlers that you regularly paddle with to do it as well, that just is A+ thing right there.
yeah, make the group safer, make you safer. There's also a couple trips coming up. A big international one coming up soon.
Very soon.
I'll go ahead and let Jeremy talk about that here for a sec.
Yeah, so it starts on the 24th. Most of us are flying out the 23rd. There's a couple flying out a day or so earlier than that, I believe. And we are headed to Pucón, Chile, staying down at Pucón Kayak Retreat with David Hughes and company. It's going to be a blast. It's a real solid group, and it's just going to be the best time. So we probably will try to tag up and do some type of podcast from Chile.
Yeah.
We're 2 hours ahead in Chile, so it'll be 10 p.m. So
That's a bummer for you. I'll be all right.
Well, no, but we'll be done with dinner and doing our fireside chatting about the paddles from every day. So we'll be able to at least check in for 15 minutes or something and give you a trip report mid-trip. But super stoked for that. Everybody that's going is ready, and we're out of here soon. So,
And that is full. Can you not sign up for that one anymore?
you know, I think if you wanted to, you
know.
actually could still sign up for it. I cannot speak to, catching a flight and stuff like that. The
Geez, sir, that's
logistics
your
of
address.
it. If you want to, contact me. I'll help you do it. I'm sure there's room.
Yeah. Couple other things is me and Jeremy are kind of working on getting some trip dates set slowly here. I don't have them off the top of my head,
I do.
but
Or I have the ones you proposed already.
it is going to be 2 intermediate beginner intermediate trips to the Nantahala or some similar easy river. So that first one is going to be the 15th, 16th, and 17th of May. So you're leaving on the 15th. We'll paddle both days, the 16th and 17th, and then we'll come home after that on Sunday.
Do you have a location?
We don't have a location, so I was kind of thinking I'd open it up to you guys.
Yeah.
Where you wanted to go. Preferably for me, it would be Nantahala or Tuckasegee, something like that.
And those can both easily be done at the same day, even.
Same day, same trip for sure. We definitely have awesomes for that. I am learning from my mistakes of last year. We're gonna go ahead and cap those this year. So in a little bit when things settle down for me, I'm gonna create a Google form. These first 2 beginner intermediate trips, it's gonna be in July. They're gonna be capped at 8 to 10 people, and like I said, those are gonna be the kind of easier rivers. So that's like FB9, Nantahala, the Tuckasegee. And the next one is going to be
17th and 18th.
the
or-
17th, 18th,
17th
and 19th
yeah.
of
July.
July. So that one is going to be at the Nantahala for sure.
That makes sense.
So if we were using the first one as kind of like our step up one, we're gonna go ahead and move the next one to like for sure the Nantahala step up, and that is again capped at 10 to 8 or 8 to 10 people, kind of just focusing on our skills, getting used to some harder whitewater. You know, we'll probably be able to lap Nantahala Falls a couple times.
I was just say we'll probably work Nantahala Falls as well. If you don't know it or you're not familiar with it, there is a lot of different ways to run Nantahala Falls, and there are a lot of different eddies to catch in there that are all perfect for skill building in a relatively consequence-free environment.
Yep.
So it's it'll be kind of a more advanced beginner class.
Yeah. And then, so that kind of coincides with the end of Monday night classes. Also, kind of why these dates were picked the way they were. It's not just because they work for me, but the May is kind of when Jeremy's Tuesday night classes either starting or ending. Close to that.
I can't keep track. I think the Tuesday night class ends then, and then the Wednesday night pool sessions
Yeah,
start.
that sounds right.
Which
So-
is in not Coreyville.
If you're taking that Tuesday night class with Jeremy, you'll definitely be ready for that first one in May.
Yes.
If you've taken the Monday night class before, you'd be fine on the Nantahala. Like Jeremy said, it's pretty inconsequential swimming.
It is.
It's a
and
good way to get the rust off for the year.
It gives you great opportunity to either just run down it normally, but if you're ready to work on new skills and other stuff, running laps on the falls is one of the easiest places to get in a whole bunch of good work really
Yeah.
quickly. It's, if you don't know, has a paved handle rail walkway to carry your boat back up and just run it as many times as you possibly can.
The bottom hole on the falls is actually one of my favorite ender spots
Yeah.
in the whole world.
It's fun to
a
surf.
ton of fun.
Surfing the bottom hole.
I have more opinions about the rodeo hole, but that's mostly because I broke my paddle.
It's a little brutal.
It is a little brutal. And then the last one in August, this one is going to get capped at 5 to 6 people. I'm not sure how I want to do it, if it's an open sign up or if it's kind of like an invite only trip, and it's just because last
Sheer
year
numbers of
we had a
people were-
ton of people come last year, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love taking beginners down, but it is a little stressful for me on my end to deal with. So we're gonna go ahead and have a 5 to 6 beginner trip down the Lower Yacht in August. That's going to be on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. So same deal. We're going to leave on the 14th, paddle the 15th and 16th. I'm looking forward to that. It was a lot of fun last
Oh, it
year.
was, yeah.
But like I said, learning from our mistakes, we're going to cap our beginners at like 5 to 6 people unless we
We
get
had like 15 last year.
yeah,
or
it was
something.
a large group last year. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it was definitely a
It
learning
worked out,
experience.
but yeah, it'll be less
Um,
hectic this way for
But
everyone.
we're just gonna kind of keep it a little bit calmer this year for my sanity. So like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna post a sign up for that or if it's gonna be like an invite only. Definitely not requirements, but it couldn't hurt your standing. Is if you go on the other 2 trips, they're not.
Yeah.
They're free aside from like your camping or
In
anything.
case you
like,
don't know or aren't familiar with it, the Lower Yacht is a step up from the Nantahala and probably the next logical one
Yeah.
to do if you're not going to go straight to the Ocoee,
which a lot of sane people don't do. Sure.
well, I just started on the Ocoee.
Sane people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, they're not paid trips. You just basically book a campsite and come down. If you are feeling like you owe me something, a case of beer works. But like I said, Lower Yacht definitely makes you a little bit more appealing in the running if you come to the first 2 trips and I see what you're doing, stuff other than Little Miami, Great Miami.
Yes.
And it's a fun river. It's a great place to go. It's one of my favorite places on earth. And like I said,
running laps on the loop even too is a unique place to be, because since you can do that without running shuttle, you just park at the foot in and you can walk a quarter mile and put right back on and run some of the best rapids on this section.
So when I first got back into whitewater, when I was ready for the lower, my mom wasn't boating as much seriously anymore, and she didn't trust herself. My dad had just broken his collarbone,
Ouch.
and my brothers were not coming. They bailed on the trip, and my mom ended up paying for a class and we only got the loop class for me because it was a half day.
Oh, that's cool.
And we figured, we just run the loop like maybe 2 or 3 times. We ran it 6.
That's bad. That's awesome.
That is a lot of shuttling.
That's a lot of hiking.
It's a lot of hiking. I was 15 at the time.
That's a good workout.
So
that's a long day.
that was a long day. My instructor was carrying a Nirvana.
Okay, either
And
way,
I was
it's
like,
still
whew.
heavy.
I was like, man, I don't know how he's doing that with that because
Yeah, either one.
my arms are killing me. Move past one-day clinics to actually turn beginners into lifelong sufficient paddlers. Lots of questions. Kids are not great at failing to succeed. Adults tend to blame their bodies to take on teaching kids versus adults. Bo, there's a great questions. We're gonna finish talking about our announcements here, and we'll get right into this. Thanks for asking. Comments are great. While we've got people here, we'll go ahead and talk about the YouTube stuff. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like
yeah.
it.
And hit the notification
Hit the notification bell. It just helps us
You
get our
hate to miss
content out
us.
here. Yeah, you're missing all this great content. I'm a little bit worried about the HVAC over there, but it's all good. So we'll go ahead and open up with Bo and the Lizards questions. Bo, we're not Eric, by the way. Eric's a different guy. I'm Ed. That's Jeremy. We are big partners with Eric. He does all the hard work.
Yeah.
We just get to do the fun stuff.
He does all the paperwork.
How do we move past one-day clinics to actually turn beginners into lifelong self-sufficient paddlers? That is a fantastic question, and one I'll go ahead and let you have the first swing at.
So I think the most important part to it is making sure, especially if it's their first one-day clinic, that they are given every opportunity to enjoy themselves and have fun with it and not have it be this scary experience where it's nerve-wracking to be around other paddlers and flip over and swim and everything else. It's about making it fun and just introducing them to the other paddlers that are around and letting them learn and see that it's a learning environment that is very open. People are super happy to help each other because we've all been there and we all started somewhere. So I think making it fun is the key to making them become lifelong paddlers, particularly with kids. If they're laughing and smiling the whole way through, it's a really good sign that they're going to come back and do it again. If they're miserable or don't want to flip over, or they're part of this too is having a boat available to them that is reasonable for their size, that's comfortable for them to sit in, so they just don't feel totally out of sorts the whole time. Is really the main thing, I think, as far as a one class visit.
Yep, I would agree. I guess my advice, a little bit about my background, is I'm finishing up a degree in education, and I've been a ski instructor for 7 years now, so it's been doing this for a while, and I really love teaching. I'm very passionate about it. And the most often that you get recurring is going to be, it's not like the lessons that you teach the most stuff, or they're not the best lessons always. It's lessons that you make a personal connection, right? So my job as an instructor isn't to get you purely the best whitewater kayaker in the world. My job as an instructor is to make you feel comfortable and calm and introduce you to the whitewater community, and really just make you comfortable on the water, right? Just be comfortable around me, comfortable around Jeremy, right?
Exactly.
So that main point, my main goal in one-day clinics is always just to make someone have fun, smile, laugh, just like hang out with me,
100%.
And the kayaking is almost kind of a secondary byproduct to me.
It's just what we're doing, because otherwise it's mostly just hanging out.
Yeah, it's just
Hanging
like
out in a boat.
another thing there. So my biggest advice of turning people into whitewater paddlers is not to get them hooked on the sport, because it's a scary sport that we do. Most people look at it insanely and they're going to go, oh, I don't want to do that, right? But if you get them hooked on the community and the people, they're much more likely to come back and keep doing it.
Yep, I agree 100%.
And then, on alternate questions, the kids are great at failing until they succeed. Adults tend to blame their bodies or gear instead of accepting the process.
Yeah.
What's your take on teaching adults versus kids? So, again, like I talked about with my background, I'm a middle school teacher, and I teach mostly lower aged kids skiing. So that's like 4 through 16 is where I'm very comfortable with teaching. Those kids, like you said, the way you described it, they fail until they succeed. They do something wrong, and then suddenly
And
it
they
kinda
usually
just
have a lot of
snaps and it
energy to
clicks.
keep going.
Yeah, and
They don't stop. It's just like, oh, okay, let me try again.
you perfectly described it. And my thing, especially with skiing, has always been it's fun, almost funny to watch like a 6-year-old fall. It's much less funny to watch a 60-year-old fall, right? I kind of have the same experience teaching kayaking. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of kids in the sport of whitewater kayaking. And
There's not, and
something I would like to do would
we
be
wanna
branch
increase
that out.
that, yeah.
I love teaching adults too because it allows me to get a little bit more technical, a little bit more serious. But it's still just a lot of fun that I have teaching kids. I would say that my take on teaching kids versus adults is that I would rather teach kids, but I love teaching adults too, and I think I just like teaching, to be honest.
So yeah, full disclosure, I hadn't taught kids until this year, full sessions, but I actually do enjoy teaching the little, and by kids I mean little kids, like grade school, not high school. They are, in my opinion, the most fun to teach. If you engage them properly and get them involved so that they don't feel like they're just sitting around, because they're always inevitably surrounded by too many adults. And so if you engage them and keep them engaged with it, they really have a blast. And I really enjoyed teaching the kids this year that we've had at the pool sessions and at the river sessions. In fact, having one of our students show up to the 5:30 a.m. paddle.
Oh yeah, it was
Whose
amazing.
mom made a 2-hour drive, leaving at 3:30 a.m. and brought the other sibling as well, who wasn't ready to go on the river at dark and attain a couple miles upstream, but he was a trooper and slept in the car, that's kayaking in a nutshell right there. That's awesome. So seeing that happen this year was a huge highlight of this past year's students, that especially the kids. So.
Yeah, for sure.
With adults, I think it's most important to find a reference point or touchstone as far as when adults get frustrated and as you mentioned, they blame equipment or gear more often. And I think that's because all of us, as we grow and become adults, we have a tendency to try to avoid blaming ourselves directly, even though we're learning something new that we don't know how to do, that is not necessarily very instinctual to do. It's a kind of, especially learning the role from scratch as an adult, you need to find a touchstone, some kind of common ground to keep them from getting frustrated. And as far as the blaming gear stuff goes, I think the best thing to do there is to encourage and allow people to exchange gear. There are differences in gear. It doesn't mean you should be fixing a hardware problem or a software problem with hardware. And by that I mean like a U problem with a different piece of things. People a lot of times never end up in a play boat, or vice versa, never end up in a creek boat, and they're in whatever boat they inherited, bought, found on marketplace for a good price, and it's not right for them. We had a couple of students this year actually that once they switched boats were much happier.
Yep. For sure. All right. Thanks for the questions, Bo. I really appreciate it. Our next question was, how important is our hand position while we roll?
I believe that one was specifically how important is hand position during
So
a
that
hand
was
roll.
Oh, was it? I didn't
Yeah.
read all of it. I did read all of it. It
Way
was
to go,
just a while
teach.
ago. I mean, all teachers are always taking shortcuts, man.
I'm just playing with you.
So how important is hand position when hand rolling? That completely changes the question, and the answer for that is pretty important. My hand rolls, I always find that I have the most
Actually,
success.
yeah, no, it is written that way. So
Look
Ed,
at
we'll
me.
just hit
Look
both
at
of
me.
them. Ed was right. I should never mess
Yeah.
with the teacher.
We'll go ahead. We'll start with the hand roll one. So with hand rolls, obviously very important.
Yeah.
For me, my hand rolls are really kind of like sweep rolls because I go like that.
Do you do the layover?
I do a little bit of a layer.
So mine is it's a 1-2.
Yeah.
So I do, for me on my onside, I start with my left and then my right and left separate. So it's an initial down with my left and then right left separate into like the YMCA thing as the boat's rolling over. Throwing your left hand over just helps give you enough momentum to get the boat all the way over.
Yeah, I would
depending
agree.
what boat you're in.
I'm pretty much the same way. Where it's a team smack for me more than a one hand smack, and then I kind of skull with the down
That
hand.
sculling with the offside or the onside hand, I
Yeah.
guess, is also a great way to do it. Hand rolling too is going to be a huge test of your hip snap
Yep.
and timing. And it's a great one for it. You guys should all try it. It's a great skill to have. It is unique and different, but sometimes can simple. We had one person long ago that I paddled with that initially could not roll with paddle.
Yep.
And she would drop her paddle when she flipped, hand roll, and pick her paddle back up, which is the only person I've known who's ever done that, but she could hand roll every time.
Yeah.
She could not roll with her paddle initially, and so that worked for her and gave her a good bridge to learning it with the paddle.
That's impressive.
I've never seen it again.
And then with a regular paddle, it's also pretty important. It's not as quite as important as the hand roll, but you're going to have a much easier time rolling with your hands properly set apart rather than here, or even a little bit farther apart.
And a lot of the stuff with diving your paddle, whether you're doing a sweep or C2C, one of the more common problems is your paddle blade diving on you before you ever attempt a hip snap at all.
Yep.
And so you're starting at a huge disadvantage. Point of that being, with regard to hand position, is typically I line up my knuckles on my right hand. I'm a right-handed paddler, and paddles are handed,
Yep.
in case anyone doesn't know. And most of them are right-handed, though you can find left-handed paddles. Whichever your control hand is, really shouldn't move a whole lot on the paddle, but I line my knuckles up with the blade so that my knuckles are with the vertical portion of the blade, and what that allows me to do is index the paddle and know what my angle is when I'm inverted and upside down. You can both feel it, and then after you do a whole lot of it, and I believe, because I saw it coming in the background of the video.
So what
Yes.
Jeremy's talking about is that right hand is perfectly lined up with the paddle blade, if you guys can see that. And whenever I move my hand, my right hand's going to stay firm, locked, like I'm cocking back on a motorcycle.
Yep.
This is not moving at all. My left hand does move. So my left hand is not gripped on the paddle like this. It's kind of free. It's loose,
Yep.
a little bit looser like that. But you can see after moving around just like that, my right hand's still lined up directly with this paddle blade, right?
And that lets him know where his angle is, even if he can't see her. And especially when you're doing combat rolls in whitewater, you're not going to be able to see anyway, but you have a fixed reference point that allows you to orient your paddle, especially in aerated waters, like if you're getting thrown around in a hole. That lets you rotate your wrist forward and know your paddle's going to have a climbing angle when you go for a sweep or get yourself in a C2C position.
Yeah, Bo, exactly about the hand roll is the higher your hands up around the water, the more momentum and surface tension you can break with that hand roll.
Yeah, for sure. And same with the paddle. The higher you get your paddle out of the water, the more support you get from that same motion with the paddle.
I tell students that you want to feel your right knuckles above
Feel
the water.
Yeah,
Feel the air.
I feel for there is what I tell them.
Yeah. Our next question is, how do we have any tips on getting a playboat vertical? My tip is going to be some of these. These are just some foam puzzle pieces that you put on the floor that I've cut up that I put underneath my butt on my playboat. So the higher you sit in a boat, the tippier it makes, which
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier to engage those front edges. The other thing that I highly recommend is getting a foot block, a foam foot block, not happy seat, happy feet.
Yeah, happy feet suck for it.
That
Sorry,
really
Jackson, but-
lock you in and keep you comfortable. Like, not comfortable. You want to be uncomfortable when you play boat, actually.
Mildly uncomfortable should be your goal.
You want to kind of be jammed in there, because the tighter you are in that boat, the higher you're sitting in that boat, it's going to be easier to initiate the front and the back.
Yeah, if your feet aren't securely touching the foam, it's going to be really hard to initiate, period.
Yep.
Same with your hip pads and stuff, especially for stern stuff. You want your hip pads, hips, knees, toes should all be pretty tight in the boat. That will give you every advantage that you need. And then other than that, I would suggest starting one of the easier ways to do it, which is either you can just start off just doing 360s if you're trying to stern stall, for example, or just get the boat vertical into a stern squirt type situation. You just start doing flat 360s and then drop whatever edge you're wanting to drop down in the water. And as you do that, you'll notice your bow is starting to come up with each of your 360s. Lean more, your bow will continue to come up. And then at the end of the day, remember you're basically doing a crunch. If you're doing a stern squat, well, either one of them, a crunch is going to bring your bow up, whereas if you lean back, it's going to put it back down. So you want to engage your core when you're spinning the boat into the vertical position.
Yeah.
And pull these up so we can see them easier.
I also recommend finding a big feature. A nice, big, deep, powerful hole is going to shoot you right up if you plug your bow in, or your stern in for that matter. Oh, it's opposite in the video. Yes, we are mirrored in the video.
Oh, yeah, good call. Thank you, Christian.
And then, this question we were a little bit confused by. It was how important is, or why do you stress the top hand finishing over the water on a sweep roll?
Yeah, so again, we're reversed here. So I'm assuming when you're sweeping out, top hand makes me think of left hand.
Yeah.
Like, what is top hand finishing over the water?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know what that
the
means.
way I interpret that, for me, if I was rolling on my right side, so I'm sweeping out with my right arm, my left arm's maybe back here somewhere, it would be out of the water more or less as I rolled up. It, more important than where it is in the vertical axis is where is it with regard to the center line of your body, because once your left hand crosses across the center line of your chest, no matter how you're oriented, that's rolling your boat back over. Your body weight is now, it's also going to cause you to engage your opposite quad and obliques and just flip yourself back over. So the main thing is to really leave if your top hand that you're referring to is your offside hand, you kind of just leave it where it is. It's just a pivot point for whether it's C to C or a sweep. It's just kind of hanging out somewhere pretty close to your boat is where it should be. And if you're talking about the other hand, you just want it as high as possible when you start, like we talked about for both a hand roll or a paddle roll. The higher it is, and if it's out of the water, is the best position possible. But not everybody has long enough arms or flexibility to do that. So that's where the climbing angle part comes in. You want to keep that hand up by the surface because that gives you more power to roll up.
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. It's mostly, it's not because I don't have an answer for that question, but it's
I fully admit I don't don't totally understand the question. Hopefully we addressed it, but
and then
feel free to hit either of us up or
before we start moving around here, because we do have a little
have a show and tell.
Yeah, we do have a little special show over here. We'll go ahead and answer this question: is what are the most frequently used paddle strokes on the river?
Yes, and this is a really great question.
Another great question is the big three we kind of mentioned were a forward stroke, a boof stroke, and a draw stroke.
Yeah, sweep, draw, and boof, and those could be forward or reverse. The question also is phrased for creeks and rivers.
Yes.
So I will break it down briefly into so you're going to be doing a lot more boofing typically on a creek. It's going to have more gradient, it's going to have tighter moves, and especially if you're anywhere where we all are throughout the Southeast and Ohio for that matter, it's lots of boofs. So the boof stroke becomes important, though. Remember, the boof stroke is every bit as much about your body position and what you're doing with your core and your legs as you're going over whatever you're boofing as it is timing your stroke, because the stroke is essentially just a draw. I mean, you can do a sweep or a hybrid too, but your draw stroke is your speed forward, that's your accelerator, and your sweeps are your rotations. So there's a lot of people who preach only paddle positive. I'm sure you've probably heard this too, and what that means is they're saying you shouldn't be taking many or any backstrokes depending on who you're talking to. And I know quite a few instructors who do say like you basically never should take a backstroke. I'm going to fully disagree with them and say there are plenty of times when a backstroke is appropriate. The reason they say it is because it kills your speed, and you can easily get flipped, especially if you're in a cross current or an eddy line or something like that. So play with it, play with the different strokes. William Neely called this paddle foo, which I think is super cool, and totally willing to borrow that term from him. But playing around with your paddle, and that includes doing things when you're practicing like sculling strokes, will really give you an idea of how the paddle moves your boat in different ways, because there are some other paddle strokes that you may or may not have done, like a reverse draw, which will rotate your boat but not necessarily kill your speed in the way that a reverse sweep is going to dramatically change your boat angle, but it's going to kill your speed immediately too. So, and then back ferrying, which is typically something you'd only do in a raft. I occasionally will do it in a kayak. It's usually in a situation where there's a bunch of congestion up in front of us, like the upper yacht is somewhere I'll back ferry occasionally. not really wanting to do it a lot of times, but when somebody hits the rock and is stuck there and it's like, uh-oh, now I need, yeah. There's uses, in my opinion, for reverse strokes as well, but the draw and the sweep are the bread and butter of all kayaking, whether you're on creeks, rivers, whatever else. Good drill to do that I still do to this day when I do my solo attainments and stuff is alternate draws with sweeps. So like right side draw, left side sweep, but keep your boat headed on the same vector in the same direction without it. Vector, it's the right word, I promise you.
Just
But
direction there.
yeah, you can do like draw, like right draw, left sweep, right draw, left sweep, and then switch it over to left draw, right sweep, left draw, right sweep, and just go back and forth as you go, and then just go left sweep, right sweep, left sweep, right sweep, left draw, left draw, right draw, and play around with that, but maintain your boat moving along the same line. I typically will pick like a tree or some object off in the distance and use it to key off of. Also useful when you're doing things like learning to get your boat vertical on the river and stuff like that too, is to focus on something on shore or even a buddy's boat, just some distant object.
I guess, so we've pretty much hit the paddle strokes, but I'd also like to talk about the difference between proactive paddling and reactive paddling.
Oh, for sure.
So like if you don't know, reactive paddling is you're waiting for the water to do whatever it's going to do to you, and then you start paddling based off that. Proactive paddling is kind of taking charge, taking control, making the water do what you want it to do rather than it just controlling you.
And I 100% agree and highly advise everybody to work on becoming a proactive paddler, because you'll also hear it referred to as drive your boat. There are boats that are, so like the Z3 for example is notorious for being a boat that you can just float down the river and be a reactive paddler because it floats you so high and dry that you can kind of get away with that and up until you end up in a hole and get absolutely worked with that extra volume, but then you're going to be reacting. That even if you're in a boat like that, being a proactive paddler will prevent the whole situation from happening in the first place, but it's going to give you the skills you need to move into more aggressive boats, and by that I mean, and this will lead right into what we're going to do for show and tell, but the edges on your boats and the shape of your hull determine how it moves around the river and how quickly you can change directions and stuff like that. So as you go from a displacement style hull, which the Z3 mostly is, towards a hybrid hull or a full-on planing hull like a playboat where it's working just like a surfboard, when you drive those hard edges into the water, you're getting a strong reaction and a quick reaction and changing direction without losing very much speed, whereas you bleed a lot of that off around your hull. So being a proactive paddler is very beneficial.
And I also think there's misconceptions that being a proactive paddler means that you're taking a ton of strokes.
Yeah, that for sure. Or that you're going really fast.
That you're going really fast, which is not true, because I mean, if you've paddled with me at all, you know that I do this thing where I don't paddle very much, and then all of a sudden, like my brother describes it, he hates following me because I'm sitting in one place and then I'm on the other side of the river.
Yeah, and then you switch. Yeah.
Just through a couple of strokes, and that's just by experience, learning the water, learning what the water's doing, seeing common features that I've seen before, and knowing how that's going to affect my boat, and like knowing where I want to be on those features.
And this is where practicing ferrying across seemingly boring eddy lines and stuff on not hard rivers really comes into play and helps a ton, because it allows you to learn, because what Ed's doing when he's sitting there, and I do the same thing, is you can be in the river and fully be intending to move 200 yards to your left in the next 50 feet, but you see the three waves that you're going to surf over there to do it, and you don't need to start paddling like crazy or spin all the way around and pick up a full-on ferry angle to go across it. You can anticipate like, hey, well, I'm just going to go through these gentle waves on the way, they're going to slow me down, and they're going to move me laterally anyway because it's angled that way. And that kind of stuff just comes from, like Ed said, practice and experience, so it's a great skill to build, and you can work on that literally anywhere with current. The more familiar you are with current and how it moves you, especially attaining up rivers, it will really help you move around any features, because you can stop in the middle of a rapid by surfing a wave. And I have plenty of times, especially in And it's not because it's like, oh, I want to have a surf real quick. It's like they're swimming over there. I don't need to make this more complex than it already is. There's already 3 people over there, but I'm going to hang out nearby in case a paddle breaks loose or the boat comes out of the eddy or whatever else. Now I'm close by. I can peel off the wave, go chase the gear or the person, whatever the case may be. But you can stay close by without going all the way to the run out of the rapid and not potentially being able to see what's going on with the situation you're trying to monitor. So,
Also, because he wanted to surf.
well, yeah, there is that too, but yeah.
The swimming is secondary. He wanted to catch the wave.
Yeah.
Don't let him trick you.
That's absolutely true too. No, no lies there.
That's a good point, Bill, about thinking you're active, but you're really just like la 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 la, and
Yeah.
not doing anything with down here, right?
And sometimes we're to blame, I think,
Yeah.
for some of that because you'll hear me say it all the time. Like if you're in doubt, paddle.
Yeah.
But what I should be saying, and probably will going forward now that I'm thinking about this, is have a paddle blade engaged. And by that, I just mean in the water. It can be skimming the water. If you've paddled with me much, you'll see me a lot of times doing not a low brace, but the back side, not my power face, but the back side of my paddle will just be skimming the surface of the water on one side or the other. And all I'm doing with that is very, very gently controlling my boat angle. And I'm not taking a stroke, I'm just kind of feathering it a little bit.
Yep.
And that kind of stuff really does help set you up as you see your line through the rapid or whatever you're up to. And then when you're ready to move, then absolutely dig in
Yep.
and have some authority to your paddling. But when in doubt, paddle just really means have a active paddle blade in the water because it gives you a third point of support. It makes you a lot more stable.
Yeah, I think we killed paddling there. So
Yeah,
our
hopefully.
next big question was, what are the differences between the Antics 2.0, the
I'm
Antics
excited
3.0, and the Firecracker? So, fortunately, we know some people who have an Antics 2.0, an Antics 3.0, and a Firecracker. So we're actually going to go take a look over there.
Yeah.
Just a forewarning, I know my basement looks beautiful and lovely and clean right here. You might see some dirty stuff. It's just a little messy and a little cluttered down here. I live with 6 people, so it's not all my stuff. It's mostly my stuff. But we're going to have a good time. Just don't judge me, okay?
And no one would judge you ever.
I don't know about all that.
Well, I'm sure they will judge us, but judge away.
Okay.
So
Maybe just stare at me the whole time.
Or do you want to do the camera?
I can
add an aisle?
She's back there. I think the best place to put this is going to be back by the light back here.
That's what I was thinking is maybe
Ooh.
Olivia just hold it.
Yeah, maybe Olivia, you should just hold this.
Okay.
That way you guys can only see a wall.
Yeah, there's no scary background
Okay, we'll go ahead
things happening.
and start with.
Do you want me to flip
Well, I
it?
guess we'll just say
Start-
which one's which, I guess.
Yeah, this blue boat right here is a Firecracker. This color vomit one here is a Antics
How dare
2.0.
you?
And then this very beautiful
It's called Royale.
purple boat over here that Olivia is panning over here to in just a second.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it
Oh,
out.
careful.
Okay, maybe
Actually,
not
maybe-
get it out.
Be better off pulling it out.
Yeah, just remember the back camera's broken, so you can't.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, here
Someone
we go.
drop
Hey,
this
we're
phone.
working on a budget here. Don't.
Okay.
Okay, so
Here
this
we
very
are.
beautiful purple raven colored boat over here is the very beautiful, nice Antics 3. So I was thinking we'd go in chronological order,
Yeah.
which would bring us to the Antics 2.
Oh, hey, quick note. The Firecracker is a small.
Yeah.
The 2 anti.
Antics is,
Yeah. I'm not sure. Is that?
I'm not really sure either.
I don't know either. The 2
Anti
antics
doesn't sound right.
It's Latin, right? Both Antixes are mediums.
Yeah.
The Firecracker is the small Firecracker.
So,
there's not that much difference.
I'll see if I can get a size shot on the 2 Antixes here. So that's a nice overhead
Actually, that's pretty good.
of the Antixes. So they are the same length, and then the show over here is me standing at the ceiling and blocking out the front of the Firecracker. But it is also pretty similar. It's definitely shorter because it's a small,
It's about.
but it's pretty similar.
most
then-
of these, the cockpits are mostly lined up.
Yeah, and then we'll do a couple more comparison shots here.
Yeah, we'll get them on edge and other things.
Here.
So
Release. This, we'll do the front rocker here. This is so much fun. We have fun here. Our front rocker here, you can kind of see if we line this up here. The Firecracker has a lot of rocker. The Antics 2 does not have a lot of rocker. And you can't see the Antics 3 because the Antics 2 has so little rocker compared to it. But if I come over here and show it, the Antics 3 has more rocker than the Antics 2.
Consider the more rockers.
And pretty similar to the Firecracker, actually.
It's pretty close to the Firecracker, and we can stick down next to each other next.
And then we'll step over here to the tail ends to look at the back rocker here. So we see our Firecracker here is about a little bit more than finger length. Over here on the Antics, same thing. This one's a bit closer. And then these Antics actually has the smallest stern rocker.
And this is the 3.
And this is the
here.
3.0, which makes it easier to play with, in my opinion.
Yes.
If you guys have any other things that you would like to see about these 3 boats while I'm standing here.
There's one thing that we're going to do while they're next to each other, which is the double chime versus... So the Firecracker is a single chime.
Okay.
All right.
So if you
we're
look at this Antics 1 right here, this hard line
Antics
right
2.
here, Antics 2 right here, this hard line right here, we call this a chine. Okay, so these chines are carved into a planing hull because they plane across the surface rather than displace the water like a displacement hull. So this hard chine is what you're looking for when you see a nice displacement
And
hull.
what these chines do is as water comes down your boat, it channels the water through this, which allows you to turn and turn and maneuver the boat using this hard edge step right here.
Yeah.
But as you can see, there's one distinct chine here. We'll show the Firecracker also, but it's also a single chine.
And when we step back to the Antics 3, we can see that there's a
2 chines.
double chine. This is a double chine. I don't know why I repeated that twice. But it makes it a little bit more edgy, a little bit more stable, side stable
And
like
the
this.
reason for that is you have 2 jets of water coming down this, so this whole area becomes your new edge when you're pitched. So what it gives you is really good secondary stability, so you can be far on edge, and this really helps you when you're planning on your stern in particular, which is the intent of this design. Is it also makes it surf really, really well. It's harder to see, especially with the lighting, but this hull is more of a planing hull than the Antics 2 is a little rounder. You have a greater radius on the bottom of the Antics 2 than you do on the Antics 3. And this distance between chines, it's much flatter in here. So when you are surfing on wave, you have a lot of ability to surf very well and absolutely translate. Yes, extreme close up. We're doing Wayne's World style stuff.
If we also take a look at the 2 rockers, the Antics 3's chine goes much longer along the boat than the Antics 2 does. So this almost runs the whole length of the boat. We back it up a little bit, and then you compare that to the 2 versus the 3. The 3 almost runs the whole length of the boat, whereas the 2's just a bit shorter.
The 2 peters out, here on the bow, whereas this almost comes. The parting line for this chine is damn near the front of the bow, whereas this doesn't start until you're about a foot aft of the bow. And same with the stern. Now, the Antics 2 does continue it all the way to the stern, as does the Antics 3, but you have, again, 2 chines versus 1 chine, and that gives you a whole lot different performance characteristic.
So we'll go ahead, we'll lay these down really quick, and then we'll show up the Firecracker. We can also go ahead and talk about outfitting while we're here. I just thought about that. Here's our Firecracker. So this has a soft chine. So those,
especially for a piranha boat, this has a very soft chine for a piranha boat.
So if you noticed with the Anticses, they were very too hard, like one really hard jagged line like that, really hard jagged line, really hard jagged stop. We look over here at the Firecracker, it's a much more smooth, kind of abrupt change.
And you see that there's actually, instead of having two chines, it has this sort of mini planing surface in between the hybrid planing surface that's the main hull of the boat. It has this wide section here that we don't have that over here. That's under the chine here. And so what that gives you is a less secondary stability, but it gives you a kind of cool ability to sort of gauge just this surface when you are on an extreme edge.
Yeah.
The firecracker is extremely spicy, especially in big water, but it's a whole lot of fun. Easy because of the lack of this drop off, which is really weird for a piranha boat to be that way compared to a Jackson boat. That's usually inverted.
Yeah. And we can also see the length of this on the Piranha, the firecracker. It's the same thing where it runs most of the boat.
Yep.
Where it comes almost all the way through the tail here. You can see it keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. It actually does go all the way through the tail.
It does go all the way to that.
Whereas you see a little bit better look here, the Jackson kind of stops right about here on that line right there. So
what does all that mean practically?
I paddled all three of these.
I have too.
So
These
familiar with the
these
two.
are our boats, so
I'm very familiar with the two. It was my boat for a long time. I switched over to a 3, which maybe gives you a hint to Jeremy's question.
They want to know how it compares to the Mamba.
We have a Mamba. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a journey.
Come with us, Jack.
Oh my gosh.
Let the Mamba owner speak about the Mamba.
Oh no.
That's right, Olivia.
Okay. The mess part goes a little bit more on this side. Okay. So, this is actually not as much a displacement haul.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we have a great line over here. So you can kind of see that same soft chine that we saw on the firecracker. It's actually a bit more, there's a little step here. It's not as big as like the Antics or anything.
But the length of it is dramatically different. It
much shorter.
Starts and stops third of the way across.
Goes there.
length.
So the Mamba is what you would call a carbon placement and displaning haul, because planing and displacement haul.
There you go.
Because it's got that planing edges. You've got these planing edges for your secondary stability, but it actually has a flat haul, so it's not kind of curved like those planing hauls that we were just looking at is.
Well, the curved ones are displacement, but
It is curved. This one's a bit old.
it's
It's well
the
buffed.
main thing here that you'll notice when paddling these is this differential between the length.
Yeah.
Because the majority of this is centered, the majority of your edge is centered under your body weight with these, so it doesn't engage as much when you're leaned into a leaned back or leaned forward position, which you'll be doing when you're playing around on the stern, which is more, well, it's almost not possible in a Mamba. You can, in eddy lines, get it to stern squirt, but
That's a strong eddy line.
yeah, it's going to be a dynamic experience for sure. But the Mamba is one of the all-time classic river runners, and it's so we got Liquid Logic Delta 5. The Mamba, while none of us have one or paddle one, the Delta 5, if I recall correctly, and I'm not a Liquid Logic boat guy, so I don't have,
We do
I've
have a
never
Liquid
paddled
Logic.
Delta 5. We've got a free ride.
It's different for sure.
The Delta
Yeah.
5 is going to be more in the River Runner creaking narrative, so it's going to be a lot more similar to the Mamba. I actually don't know what the hull of a Delta 5 looks like off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure it's displacement, but I don't know for sure.
I would guess that, but let's see, what's it? Yeah, it's the same question.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to the 3 and the 2 and the firecracker. Just taking this journey over here. So you guys have had lots of time to think about which is the most stable. The answer, in my opinion, is the Antics 3.0. The thing surfs like a dream. I mean, it's incredible how it's such a noticeable difference between the 2 and the 3.
And if you point that down at them, you can kind of see the width. You get a little extra width in the 3 versus the 2. And that extra width makes its primary stability a little bit better than the 2s. So the 3, in my opinion, is the most stable. The Firecracker is uniquely unstable, and that is again due to the fact that it really, if you look at its absolute bottom hull area, is tiny compared to the width that you have of your bottom surface area on the 3.